गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So, towards the end of yesterday's class in Katha Upanishad, we saw that we have to come to first we have to accept. If you remember what were the steps, first we have to accept that the Atma is. Second step was that it has to be known tattva bhavena. It has to be known, first you have to accept that it is your own essence. Third step, that this, and third step is, when will the tattva bhava, when will this essence that you are, that is the Atma, Atma cannot be called Atma. Because Atma is a word being used only to cancel Anatma. Self is being used to cancel not self. Sat is being used to cancel Asat. Chit is being used to cancel Achit, and so on. So a point must come in our contemplation, in our meditation, where in the seeker goes beyond what? Sat and Asat, goes beyond Atma and Anatma, because Atma is a thought, and as long as you are thinking, it is objective in nature. But you are not objective, you are you. You are the subject, the supreme subject, in whose presence both the Atma thought and the Anatma thought are coming and going. So, and when that happens, and when we have come to this point with this understanding of the scriptures as guided by the scriptures, then the Tattva Bhav reveals in its magnanimity. Then the Atma, then the self, then the essence, the Tattva Bhav, here it was told, what is that? The words there used were Purvam astiti upalabdhasyatmanaha upalabdhasya atmanaha satkaryopadhi krutasti krutastitva pratyaya ena upalabdhasya iti artaha पश्चात प्रत्यस्तम what is it? पश्चात प्रत्यस्तम इत सर्वोपाधि रूप आत्मनस्तत्व भावो विदिता अविदिताभ्याम अन्योद्वय स्वभाव नेति नेति इति अस्थूल मनन्वहम अदृश्ये अनात्म्ये अनिरुक्ते अनिलयने इत्यादि श्रुति निर्दिष्टः प्रसीदति अभिमुखी भवति Atma prakashanaya purvam asti iti पूर्वम अस्ति इति उपलब्धवत iti etat. So here first what we have to do, exactly I have missed one step and I'll add that one step now, and that was पूर्वम अस्ति उपलब्धस्यात्मनः सत्का So first gain the truth, gain the self by being convinced that Atma is. Not only intellectually, because even through the logic, you know that X factor is there. You can't see electricity, but you know electricity is there, therefore light is. So you have accepted electricity is. See? So you have accepted gold is behind the ornament. You have accepted mud is behind the pots. You have accepted the Atma is, that it exists. It is not there is nothing. It is. Second, that it alone is expressing. Second part he says is Sat Karya Upadhi Krutastitva Pratyaya Ena Upalabdhasya iti artaha. And what does that mean? It means, what does it mean that Atma is? It means that Atma alone is expressing itself in and through all the activities. And where is the activity taking place? It is taking place at the mental level, at the speech level, at the body level, breath level, and the world level. Everything is pervaded. Every activity of every wave, every tide, every tsunami, every water bubble, every water vapor is pervaded by water. Exactly the same way, this Atma alone is pervading the entire activity. What is activity? Coming and going. What is activity? The flux. What is activity? The manifestation and unmanifestation. In other words, you want to put the whole manifestation, unmanifestation into your experience. Waking dream is the manifestation, deep sleep is the unmanifestation. It is pervaded by the self. Without the self, this manifestation, unmanifestation flux cannot happen. In other words, every conviction, every thought, every speech, every action, every past, every future, every guilt, every expectation, everything is nothing but the self alone. Everything is self. Because without self, none of the thoughts can appear. In fact, thought itself is the material out of which everything is created in the creation. With the help of, that is second part, then we come into the Shakti. But here, self alone is everything. Just like water, wave alone is water, or water alone is wave. Self, pure consciousness alone is thought. So here it was told that all activity is, the self alone is expressing as all the activity. This is equal to self is. So it is not self inside the body. Now self is all pervasive. There is no place. Water is everywhere. There is no place that wave can express independent of the water. The activity, the coming and going of wave can express independent of the water. Cannot. Imagine now, apply it on yourself. Activity of the senses, activity of the world, activity of the breath, activity of the emotions, activity of the convictions, activity of the waking dream and deep sleep, activity of meditation. Everything is pervaded by the self. In fact, self is playing with self. This is Leela. We are not going into the play at the moment. First, here he is saying, see the self in and through every activity to come to this conviction that self is. We don't want to go to a point, because the previous part of the verse, what did the verse say? The previous verse said, what was it? नैव वाचा न मनसा प्राप्तुं शक्यो न चक्षुषा अस्तीति ब्रुवतोऽन्यत्र कथं तद् उपलभ्यते. If it is not that it is not a subject for the speech to talk about, it is not something that can be comprehended by the mind. In other words, senses cannot reach it, but it is astiti, asti iti. This is how the wise people talk about it. And then how is it to be gained? Katham tad upalabhyate. How are we to gain it? So now the next verse, the verse that we are doing, is the explanation on how to, what is the technology, what is the shift in your approach, what is the refinement in your thinking, in your contemplation that is required, so that we don't want to get to a point where chitta vritti nirodha iti yoga. We don't want to get to that point. Then what do we want to get to point? Then we are saying, I don't want thoughts, because thoughts are a problem to my meditation. Where we are getting to? We are getting to a point where whether thoughts are there or not there, it does not matter. I continue to be, because I am independent of the thoughts. The water is not equal to the waves, all the waves put together. Water is much more than waves. Waves is only on the surface of the water. Water is so many kilometers deep. It has its depth. Same way, the consciousness that I am is not only the surface thoughts. Where to access that? It has to reveal itself. For that, the wave has to give up its waveness. Here, in this contemplation, we are giving up our individualness. In this contemplation, that, what is the contemplation? Atma is. And after having done this, the last part told, what was it? Where are we? Then it said, Paschat pratyastamita sarvopadhi rupa atmanasta tattva bhavo vidita avidita bhyam anyah advayasva bhavaha. And thus one reaches, by this, what we have just now told, by doing this, he reaches a disposition where he is able to see what I know and I don't know. I know Atma is and I don't know Atma is, because when the thought comes, Atma is astiti, Atma is, and then Atma is thought goes away, then it is not, or what? So both the thoughts, the Atma is and the absence of the Atma is thought. Viditat, aviditat. So how do I come to know? Only through thoughts. That is how I have been trained. That is how I trained myself. But here, you are the subject. Do you need a thought to be the consciousness? Or are you independent of the thought? This is the next jump that we have to take, and that only comes through this refinement within our thinking. And therefore, he says that vidita avidita abhyam is the two, anya, and one reaches the advaya bhava. Advaya bhava is the non-dual bhava, the non-dual disposition, which is not his imagination, because it is reconfirmed by the various scriptures. They talk about this bhava, this a non-dual disposition is reached by neti, by Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Asthulam anvaham that is again spoken by the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The Taittiriya Upanishad says adrushye, that it cannot be seen, natmye, anirukte, anilayane. These different adjectives are used to explain its unavailability, because every adjective is beginning with a. A means not. So, in this way, ityadi shruti nirdishtaha. In this way, the various scriptures, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and the Taittiriya Upanishad, plus many others, here only two examples are given because our praman, our source of comparison by which we prove something is always Upanishad, not anything else. Gita also and the Brahma Sutras also. So here, because they are the highest. So here it says, in this manner, he who is the scriptures, the shrutis, they indicate nirdishtaha, and by this indication, prasidati abhimukhi bhavati. Prasidati means the blessings come upon through this indication, by these by the direction given by the scriptures, and abhimukhi bhavati, the seeker comes face to face with his own essential nature. This I explained in detail in yesterday's class, because now there is no thought which is separating the self and the total infinity and and its reflection. There is nothing. Just like as long as wave is thinking of itself as a wave, there is a distinction between water and wave by way of thought. But when, like you do snorkeling, the wave does snorkeling, looks at itself from inside. What does it find? I alone, the thought I goes away. It became abhimukha. It became face to face with its essence. Because now its attention is not on its form. Its attention is not on its on the conditionings. And that conditioning can be gross, subtle, causal. So here we are talking thought. Thinking was the conditioning. Its attention is not on that. And it becomes, by the grace of the scriptures, he comes face to face with himself. How is this? Yesterday we said it is a gainless gain, it is a realization-less realization. It is an experience-less experience. Because experience denotes objective experience of. So we have to employ such a language which dissolves, no conclusion is reached. Experience, less experience. This is the abhimukhi bhavati. And what is this? When he comes face to face, then what? Atma prakashana, and he sees himself as the source of, not source, he sees himself as the light. He is the light in which everything else is seen and known, and so it is in the light of the self that the thoughts are. It is in the light of the self that the past, present, future is. It is in the light of the self that the waking, dream, deep sleep meditation is. It is in the light of the self that the panchakoshas are. It is in the light of the self that the whole world is. And don't forget, it is the self alone which is expressing as all that. It's in and through everything. But he comes to the Atma Prakashanaya, and Purvam Astiti Upalabdhavat iti etata. So what was told in the previous verse, or in the beginning of this verse, that what did the verse say? The verse says, Astityevopalabdhavyah tattva bhavena chobhayoho Astityevopalabdhasya tattva bhava prasidati. So, astiti eva upalabdhavyah, that Atma is. This is how it has to be gained. This is how it has to be experienced. This is how it has to be, if you want to call it gainless gain, this is how the process is.
Swami, all these things are leading to silence. Is this equal to silence?
You tell me.
That's what all this
He is saying, does this all lead to silence?
is silence a thought again?
Ask. Answer. Does this all lead to silence?
We can say conscious silence.
What does that mean?
Because the Atma is the infinite homogeneous material, there is nothing to talk, or there isn't anything for the Atma to talk.
But the nature of Atma is to express as mind. So can you stop the mind from talking? You didn't create the mind. Understand this. Once you have come to this abhimukhi bhavati atma prakashanaya, the mind for few moments may not be there. You are in that conscious silence, but you cannot stop the mind. Mind's nature is manifestation, unmanifestation. Mind's nature is to go through waking dream and deep sleep, or very simply put, thought or no thought. So if a thought is appearing in the mind, is it going to corrupt your being? No, it must not. So we have, because that's why it will solve viditat aviditad adhi. Viditabhyam, aviditabhyam. It was told no. So you have gone beyond knowing and not knowing. I know and I don't know. You've gone beyond. You are not coming to any conclusion. If you come to I know, you are still caught up in the mind in objectivity. If you say I don't know, then you are going into the nihilist philosophy, because you are fooling yourself that how can you not know if you know in your presence the thought is coming. So this refinement in contemplation is required. This is the final few verses of Katha Upanishad. This is the creme de la creme. So this is the topic which we saw, till here we saw yesterday. Now we saw, now what happens after that? Then such a person is immortal. Such a seeker is no longer a seeker. He has attained, he has come face to face with who he essentially is. And what is that called? It is called immortality. What does immortality mean? Let's see. Evam paramartha darshinaha. And he becomes the seer of the supreme reality. Because language has to be used. So, yada sarve pramuchyante, kama yesya hridhi shritaha, adhamartyo amrito bhavati, yatra brahma samashnute. So here he says, where are we? Yada sarve pramuchyante, when all, sarve means all, yada means when all, what? Pramuchyante means they leave you. Leave what? Kama ye asya hridhi shritaha, all desires from your heart and mind. Hridhi, heart. What is heart according to our scriptures? Anyone? What is heart according to our scriptures? Swamiji, please don't ask such questions. We enjoy listening, not answering. What is heart?
The center location of all.
Mana buddhi chitta ahankar is the heart. Antakaran is the heart. Okay. So where are the desires? This is the place from where all the desires are erupting out. So here what is saying? Yada sarve pramuchyante, when all the desires in the heart have left, have been neutralized, or they have come to their own destruction, or they have become one way is to say that all desires have become destroyed. Another way to put is all desires have become fulfilled. Why it has got fulfilled? Because you have realized that everything is you. So there is nothing else to desire now. So all desires fulfilled. So whichever way you put it. So all these desires which were lurking in the heart, taking the support, and now they have left this person, and at that time such a person is said to be, what is the word used here? Atha martyo amrito. That martyo, that what you call मर्त्य को क्या बोलेंगे? That mortal has become immortal now. Martya is mortal. Amrita is immortal. So that mortal has become immortal, and then it says yat martyo bhavati atra brahma samushnute. Then there or here with the body is, and such a person while living in the body, he comes to attain immortality or the supreme reality. He comes to attain Brahma Samashnute. He comes to gain that supreme reality while being in the body. Can you attain reality by outside the body? We never thought about it. Yes, you can, but it will be only relative. The maximum you can gain outside the body as a ghost, as a yaksha, as in any of the 14 lokas, maximum you can attain is the total, the Hiranyagarbha. But only through human body, this option of attaining freedom from birth and death cycle is only possible through this body, human body. That's how sacred human body is. And what do we use it for? All Vyasan. See? Tu main, relationships. Take it, it is there, you cannot stop it. But don't forget the ultimate purpose why we have got this body for. The only purpose for this for us to get this body was that you heard me somewhere in your last life and you didn't listen. That's why I had to come back and you have to come back to drill it into you all over again that you are Brahman. In this body you have to realize. So while living in this body, the person, the seeker, now the seeker is gone. Instead, because he is abhimukhi bhavati, so he has come to realize the essential nature, and thus he is free from, he comes to know the Brahman in this body. Such are the great rishis, such are the great saints and sages who, while in this body, have come to realize their essential nature and are living to communicate that to us. See, that is we are so fortunate.
Swamiji,
Oh,
like once we realize that the truth is, and truth is all, everything is the truth, why can't we say that is the realization, and why are we saying it, we are coming face to face with the Brahman?
that is what the scripture said. I didn't say that.
Okay.
It's just a way of putting it. How will you realize? What Adi Shankaracharya ji is doing here for our benefit is, he is qualifying your acceptance that truth is, self is, Atma is. What does it require? What does it mean? In just reading Atma is, yeah, I accept it. And then next moment someone comes and says, no, Atma is not. And then you accept that also. So what does accepting Atma mean? That is this entire commentary in this particular verse. Which is that 13th or 14th? 13th verse. 13th verse. And those were the steps. First you accept, then you see that this Atma alone is the pervading, is the material of everything. It is in and through every action. And then third stage, you come to a point where you go beyond knowing and not knowing. Remember, same way, and then you come to abide in the self. The self reveals itself. And how does it reveal? As the light, prakashanaya, atma prakashanaya. Now exactly the same way, you do karma, you purify yourself without expecting any result. Karmanyevadhikaraste. It leads to the third chapter. What was the third chapter? You become, as your expectations reduce and you just do action for the sake of action, a purification comes about. That purification leads to a refined vision, and that vision is that your attention now is on the attitude behind the action rather than the action. Action is taking place, but what is the intention behind the action? Your attention starts going on to that. That was the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When you start doing that and keep refining your attitude more and more sattvic, it leads to the next, that refinement leads to the next stage. And what is the next stage? That whether there is activity or no activity, it does not matter to you. You start seeing that wherever there is activity, there is no activity. Wherever there is no activity, there is activity. Both are coexisting. Same way, we have come to a point, and then that led to the fifth chapter, Karma Sannyas. Right? Now you see the same sequence is happening here also. Thought sannyas. So, knowing and not knowing sannyas. So from both, how do you know something? By thought. And how do you not know? Also by thought, but it's a abhav. Afterwards you say, while it is abhav, there you don't say that. So we have gone beyond both. Here the teacher is saying, Yada sarvai pramuchyante, as long as even one single desire is lurking within the bosom of the seeker, he cannot attain to realization. So can you satisfy, my God, I have got so many desires, my bucket list is not finished yet. Where is your attention? On the bucket list. Where is your attention? On the desires. It is not on the self. If the wave's attention is on other waves, it will be either running, my darling, or it will be running away. Oh, Rakshas aa gaya, khane ke liye. But when the wave's attention is on its essential nature, then it is immune to all other waves. It is immune to its own form. It is not an impediment to that wave. Exactly the same way. When you sleep, is your body a problem to you? When you sleep, is your body a problem? No, because it is not there in your mind. Mind has dropped the body. In meditation, Is the body a problem to you? Yes, if you are gone with the thought that I have to be comfortable, I have to be sitting properly, I have to be in that particular position, I have to be in that particular position, it is too hot or it is too cold, I have eaten or not eaten, and a bottle of water next to you in the meditation, pathetic. You can never get into meditation. Why? Every time you will be getting up, I have to lubricate myself. Socho, you have to go beyond all this. So just like in sleep we go beyond, the mind drops the body form in sleep. In meditation also, the mind must drop the body form. The mind must drop the world. Mind must drop the memories. Mind must drop the future, past, everything. Mind must even drop the I. How will the I, after it has dropped everything, how? I am, the self is also a desire. Even that desire has to be dropped. And the process was given. So here he says that even if one single desire is there in our bosom, the meditation cannot succeed. Only when all the desires from the heart are put aside, cast aside, one enters the Brahman here and now, not sometime in the future, here and now. One moment is too long for that to happen. But what is the prerequisite? All desires have to be neutralized. Either by thinking that self is everything, or I am not anything. Neti neti. You come to the self, or self is everything. Both ways is okay. It leads to the same thing. And in this way, it is told that, where are we? Atha martyo amrito bhavati. And this way, a mortal realizes that he is the immortal one. How does he realize? Without thought. So it goes on. Yada yasmin kale sarve kamaha kamayitavyah कामयितव्यस्यान्यस्या भावात् प्रमुच्यन्ते वशीहि अन्ते ये अस्य प्राक् प्रतिबोधाद् विदुषो हृदि बुद्धौ श्रिता आश्रिताः बुद्धिर्हि कामानाम् आश्रयो न आत्मा. Here he says that when yada yasmin kale sarve kamaha kamayitavyaha anyasya bhavat, that when the complete desires and whatever is worthy of desire in this life, and what is worthy of desire in life? Whatever is considered as separate to me is worthy of desire in life. See, we don't think in this manner. All objectivity, if our attention falls on, becomes a desire, including this body, including this breath, including the thought. I don't want dementia, is a desire. See? So, and when there is no objectivity in the mind, now he is telling you one more thing. How do desires become null and void? When there is no objectivity allowed to erupt in the mind, all desires automatically become null and void. Now, different way he is putting it. Are you full of desires in sleep? There are no desires in sleep. Mind is empty. When you wake up, are there desires? Yes. Every night you enter into desireless state. And then you choose to get back into the state of desire. I have to go to work, I have to catch the train, I have to finish this project, I have to do this, I have to do that, breakfast, this, that, everything. Between every two thoughts, there is a state of desirelessness because there is no objectivity between two thoughts. Objectivity expresses by way of thought. Between two thoughts. So one word is between, second word is two, the third is thought. So between these three words, there is absence of thought, isn't it? There is no objectivity there. You catch this. So here he is saying that that when we keep exposing ourselves to this abhava of objectivity, when we keep exposing ourselves to the non-availability of idam or objects or objectivity, that means, in other words, you are reducing, this we have said many times, that you are reducing the data for the I to associate. The more the objects, the more the data for the I to associate. Stronger is the ego. Less the data, weaker is the ego. No data, I will dissolve. Which I will dissolve? The I thought will dissolve. You will not dissolve. But if you consider yourself to be the I thought, then you will go to sleep. Because with the dissolution of the I thought, you feel I am also dissolving. So you go to sleep. What is meditation? Allowing the I thought to dissolve, but you remain awake. Because it is in your presence that the I thought is coming and going, or any other thought is coming and going. This you have to catch. Nobody can make it nobody can do it for you. It is by grace that it clicks. So here it says that all these desires become cut asunder, and before coming to realize the self, the vidwan, the intelligent, the bodhad vidusho hridi budhau shrita ashrita. Where are all the desires lurking? The desires are lurking in the buddhi. Buddhi is convinced that I am the body. Buddhi is convinced I cannot live without breath. Buddhi is convinced I am the I thought. Buddhi is convinced I am a man or a woman. Buddhi is convinced. Everything is Buddhi's game, isn't it? So where are all the desires? They are taking refuge in the intellect. But where were they taking refuge in intellect? Before the realization of the self, the desires were taking refuge in the intellect. And if in that intellect even one desire is there, realization will not happen. All the desires have to be neutralized. Only then, here he says, because buddhi itself is the support of all the desires. Atma is not the support of any desire. Now here a little bit we have covered this point, but I'll repeat it if something clicks again. And what is that? What happens in buddhi and what happens in mind? Mind is itself one. That thought which reflects the consciousness is able to reflect the consciousness is called buddhi. That thought which is not able to reflect the consciousness is called mind, that which is erratic. And what is that which is able to reflect the consciousness? The I thought. So in buddhi comes the I thought. For whom are the desires? For whom are the desires? For the I. For the I. I wants, therefore he runs after, no. Or if he associates with something, he desires. And he wants that experience again and again. Who? This I. See? So here he says, so if the seeker is considering himself to be the I, then he will not be able to realize. That is why in the previous verse what was told? Asti iti. What was it? Atma is. Existence is. Asti iti. Existence is. We have to come to that conclusion. And what is your name? What is your experience of this I thought? Is I thought is? Or it is coming and going? The I thought is coming and going. If you say I is, I am, which I you are talking about? Are you talking about the waking I? This fellow also goes away after some time when the dream comes or when the sleep comes. So which I have you pierced through and come to the real I? You will find that I, the Atma, the unstruck I, which is independent of the I thought, which is independent of the aham and idam, for it there are no desires. Because by nature he is all pervasive, he is everything. So therefore he cannot have any desires because he is all that there is. It is only this I in the intellect who appears only in consonance with idam. With the subject I appears in consonance with object. Subject with object. Subject by itself cannot remain. Object by itself cannot remain. Object is dependent on the subject and subject is dependent on the object. Object cannot desire the subject, but subject desires the objects. Subject not disturbed by the object is the witness, Sakshi, but now we are going beyond that. We are going beyond knowing and unknowing. So here, that was in the previous verse. So here, this clear what I just told? This is complete. एकदम चिथड़े निकाल रहे हैं अपने मन के. You have to be very, very alert while listening. You must be subjective. So, Atma is not the support of all the desires, only the buddhi is. And here it says, Kamah Sankalpaha, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Ityadi Shrutyantaracha. So, just as Kamna, Sankalpa, and doubt, all this is nothing but mind. So is stated by the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and other Upanishad. Atha tada martyah prak bodhat asit sa prabodha uttara kalam avidya kama karma lakshanasya mrityoho vinashad amruto bhavati. Then before the Atma Sakshatkar, before the self-realization, before coming Abhimukha, before this revelation that you are the self without the thought, before that absorption in the self, if I can use that word, conviction or that duty, that what was the duty? The marana. Here it says what? Atha tada marteha prag bodhat. So prag bodhat is, prag means before, bodhat means realization. So before realization, that death is, it is a foregone fact for us. Everyone is trying not to die. Everyone is trying to avoid death. Everyone is trying to extend their life. Everyone is trying to live longer with this body. Nobody wants to become, to have Alzheimer's or lose their mind. They don't want to become mental. They don't want to become sick at any level of their conditionings. So here is saying that when that jiva comes to gain this Atma Gyan, thereafter all this what you call Marana Dharma, that this duty towards preparation for death, or duty towards survival, duty towards that, last 2-3 days, 1 week I have gone to 2 funerals. I don't know what sign. Mrita Darshan. So you see that those are moments where you become so aware that something is missing in that. And that which is not available in that dead body was not capable of taking care of that body. Because that's not its job. It is independent of the body. Body meaning Panchakoshas. Huh? It is independent of that. Recognize it while you are living, not after death. I don't know if you will remember or not. If you remember after death, then you are a ghost. Brahma Rakshas. Knowing everything but still identified is called Brahma Rakshas. Where do you find? On all the people trees. Go there. Go there. So, डरना नहीं सबके सब. Don't get afraid. So once that jiva comes to gain this Atma Gyan, comes to gain this self, as mentioned in the previous verse, thereafter prabodha uttara kalam avidya kama karma lakshanasya. All the lakshanas, all the signs of ignorance, desire and karma. Karma means what? What does karma mean? More clear. What does karma mean?
Action without attachment.
No. Yes, in what, but not in what. Go even behind it. True karma is karma without detachment. But go behind that.
Compulsion of the mind.
Doership is required to do karma. So how will you define karma?
Action to fulfill likes and dislikes.
No. Now your attention is on likes and dislikes.
Duty?
I want.
Duty? Duty?
No. Duty is for the ego, not for the karma. Is karma good or bad?
No. Neither good nor bad.
You are not listening. Before, what did we say? How did the 3rd chapter lead to 4th chapter? 4th chapter lead to 5th chapter? Karma sannyas.
Action without the.
So what is karma? What is action? What are the two things?
Manifestation
What is,
and manifestation.
that will be, yes, action is manifestation in one sense, Then but we will not call it action then. Then we will call it activity. Did you get the cue?
Desire
Conscious
is action.
action.
Desire.
Conscious action is now.
Desire is action.
Activity done with a sense of doership is called action. My God. At the end of the Upanishad we have reached, and you can't come to know. This is the genesis of an action. Action is movement. Movement is kriya. Activity with doership. A sense of I. You are all going around it, but you are not saying this. So, avidya kama karma. It is for this I that why this fellow is feeling that he is the doer, because he does not know that he is the Atma. Therefore, he has desires. Therefore, he does actions. And where are the actions? Actions are happening. Mind is activated, buddhi is activated, the breath is activated, the body is activated, and some idiot comes and says, I am doing all this. That's you and me. This idiot. This is the idiot. So the activity is the nature of matter. Manifestation and manifestation. Gross, subtle or causal. You cannot stop it. Can you stop the water from the oceans to evaporate? Can you stop the water from the rivers to merge into the ocean? You cannot. Can you stop the waves from appearing in the ocean? You cannot. Can you stop the mind from thinking? You cannot. So, activity with a sense of ownership, activity with a sense of doership is karma. And what was karma sannyas? What was the 3 steps that I explained before? That was a way how to dissolve the doership. Now that has to be practiced with this knowing and not knowing also. Those are also thoughts. Anyway, so here we are talking that he who has, when the jiva has come to realize the Atma as the essential self, at that very moment, avidya kama karma, ignorance of the self vanishes. If ignorance of the self vanishes, then the child of that ignorance is the desire. Desire also vanishes. If desire also vanishes, then the grandchild called karma, that also vanishes. When the root is gone, how can the tree of life express itself? And for us, the tree of life is, we have to live an ignorant sleep, and the tree expresses itself in waking and dream, subtle and gross. And here it says, Prabodha uttara kalam avadya kama karma lakshanasya mrityoho vinashad amrito bhavati. And thus, having killed the death itself, having conquered the death itself by having conquered the karma as well as the kam, karma and kam, which is karma was the action, kam was the desire, and the ignorance which leads. And what does ignorance lead to? Ignorance is forgetfulness of the self. But now you have come to know the self. So avidya is also gone. So once this has happened, such a person leads to what? Amrito bhavati. He attains to immortality. Gamana prayoja kasya mrityoho vinashad gamananu papattehe atreha iva pradeepa nirvana vat sarvabandhanopashamad brahma samashnute brahmaiva bhavati iti arthaha. क्या लिखा है? हाँ, because गमन प्रयोजकस्य मृत्योः विनाशात् गमनानुपपत्तेः अत्रेह इव. So this person who has come to attain this immortality, that death which takes you to different levels of existences depending upon your karma. Your karma decide which are you going to go to bhuva swa tapa janamaha satyam, which are you going to heaven, are you going to go to hell, are you going to the lower worlds, are you going to the higher worlds. What will determine it? Your karma. But what the one who has attained to this immortality, who has recognized that I am of the nature of the Supreme, for him is what did we say? Avidya, kama and karma have become neutralized. It's no longer there. So will he go to any parlok? Will he go to any plane of existence? There is no plane of existence left for him because he is all that there is. And therefore, here it is said that the death itself dies. Therefore, it is called mrityor vinashad amrito bhavati gamana prayojakasya mrityoho vinashad. So, mrityoho, the death, we are doing Katha Upanishad. The death is telling nachiketa that death itself becomes neutralized. Death itself becomes neutralized. So therefore, if you know the stories of Puranas a little bit, if Vishnu Dutas come, the Lord of Death has got no jurisdiction. And we see that in कौन सी है वो story यार? Ajamil story. That Ajamil, when he is dying, he has got 9 kids, and the last kid, by mistake, he names him Narayana. So he has gone the wrong way. He is a Pandit, he teaches Vedas, but then falls in love with a uneducated girl and produces kids. The society throws him out. But somehow, some brainwave, he names the last kid and he loves that last kid. And while he is dying, Narayana, he called his son. But Lord Narayana said, Arey, someone is calling, go. And at that very moment, all the Yamadutas came and they said, Arey, this fellow has done so many bad karmas, and he's a perfect specimen to go to the hell. We have to boil him while he is alive. But at that moment, the Vishnu Dutas come. Vishnu Bhagwan is the Lord of the waking. And the Vishnu Dutas come, and there is an argument between the two, Yamadutas and Vishnu Dutas, and this Ajamil, whose soul is neither in the body nor outside the body, he is hanging in between. And he is listening to this, like you watch the tennis, he is watching the tennis. The altercation between Vishnu Dutas and that time Vishnu Duta say, you go and talk to your boss. Who's your boss? Yamraj. Yeah. Go and talk to Yamraj and find out. We will not take this fellow to Vaikuntha till you do not come back. So they go. And when Yamraj said, what did you say? Vishnu Duta came. Leave them alone. We don't even have to go back. It's not our jurisdiction. And that story, what is told in the Puranas, is this point, that death itself is neutralized. Mrityoho vinashat gamananupapattehe atreha iva. And so therefore, this person who has gained immortality, his avidya kama karma has, his ignorance, desires and action has all been destroyed, and therefore It is only the action which determines that which karmas you have done, which good or bad will determine which lokas you go to. But now there is nothing left. No karmas is everything is washed away. Everything is purified. And therefore he has got no place to go. Why he has got no place to go? Because he has realized that he is all that there is. He has become sarvavyapi. He has become of the nature of light, which is all pervasive. Light also means he is all knowing. There is nothing outside of him. And therefore, because the death itself has been destroyed, then therefore he cannot go to any lokas. Therefore, in this loka itself, which loka? The Prithvi lok, the Mrityu lok, the human birth itself, what happens? Pradeepa nirvanavat sarva bandhanopashamad brahma samashnute brahmaiva bhavati iti artaha. Understand it in this way, that while he is living in this body, in this loka, on this earth, he is like that unextinguishable lamp, and reaches that nirvana and free from all attachments, and he attains to that supreme reality while in this body. And this way, Brahma Samashnute, that's the word, Brahma Samashnute, which came in the verse. So understand Brahma Samashnute, gains Brahman, comes to know Brahman, abides in Brahman, realizes himself as Brahman in this manner. कभी तुमने सोचा भी नहीं होगा in the analysis that has gone through. So we have never thought that we go to different lokas only because of our karma. But if avidya kama karma is getting destroyed because of realization, where will you go? Nowhere to go. You have conquered death itself. In other words, Brahma samashnute, Brahma iva bhavati. He, knowing Brahman, is being Brahman. This is the conclusion. Iti arthaha. Understand in this manner. Know it in this manner. Who is saying? The Lord Death himself. To whom? To the nachiketa within us. Are you the seeker? Are you having all your faculties together? Are you having the earnest desire to know the truth like Nachiketa is? Then these words will make an impact. Otherwise, next life is there.
Or next class.
Now the next point that he takes, we'll not cover it today, we'll just read it and we'll look at it in our next class. Kada punaha kamanam mulato vinasha iti uchyate. But when again all the desires root and from the root are destroyed, when are all the desires from the root so that they do not erupt again? When does this happen? To that it says, Yada sarve prabhidyante hridayasyeha granthayaha adhamartyo amrito bhavati etavadhyanushasanam. Together, Yada sarve prabhidyante hridayasyeha granthayaha adhamartyo amrito bhavati etavadhyanushasanam. Here it says, we'll look at detail in our next class, but what this word, when do all the desires are completely cut away from the root. It says, when in this life, all the granthi, what is the granthi? Hridaya granthi, bhidyate hridaya granthi, छिद्यन्ते sarva sanshaya, bhidyate hridaya granthi. Another granthi, you can look at it. What are the different granthis? The 7 chakras are the 7 granthis. You can take it that way. Or you can say karma is the one granthi, kam is the one granthi, avidya is the one granthi. So you can put it in different ways. So here he says, Yada sarve prabhidyante hridaya granthayah. When from the heart all the granthis are pierced. And what is this granthi? It is a knot which is not. It is a KNOT which is NOT. What is a KNOT? KNOT is like this one. This is a seaming knot. You can see now the flow of the wire has converted into a knot. So what are you looking? There's a knot. Are you seeing the wire? No. What are you seeing? Some abnormality. But the moment you pull, you see it is the same thing. That is the granthi. So what is a wave? It is a water coming together with water and becoming a knot and appearing as a wave. What is a thought? Same thing. Everything is like that. So here we'll go into more detail afterwards. But when we break through all these granthis, what is that granthi? The Bhashya will tell. I have told you, I don't know what is written there. I have given you my take on it. But so here it says, until unless all the granthis are not broken, till then he is not. Only then he becomes immortal. And here it says, etavadhyanushasanam, that all the Vedanta, the instruction of Vedanta is only one. What is that? Break through all the granthis, break through all the desires, break through all the imaginations. Whatever you think you are, you have to pierce through that. Remember, Ramchandraji was, when he met Sugriv, what did Sugriv say? He says, I want to be your friend, you are my friend, my wife has been taken away by someone, your wife has also been taken away by Bali. He says, yeah, Sugriv was very strong and he's seeing this young fellow, 16, 17-year-old boy, no, maybe now more, another 13 years have passed. Add 13 years to 16, 17, how much is it? 30. He's 30-year-old. But Sugriv is solid. Full army behind him. Great warriors, Hanuman, Nala, Neel, Jambavan along with him. And these two are, he says, what is your strength? Let me see if your arrow has any power. And when Ramchandraji shot the one arrow, it pierced through 7 sal trees. Sal tree is a very, very hardwood tree. And it pierced all the 7. 7 meaning the 7 chakras. It was able to pierce. That's the strength. That comes with focus. That comes with single pointedness. That comes with and deep desire to be the truth, that you will be able to pierce through the 7 chakras, the 7 granthis. This is, I don't know what is given, what Adi Shankaracharya is telling. Huh? But this thought came here, so I am sharing with you. So Vedanta is saying that you have to break through the granthi in order to be free from all the desires, root and all. If you leave it somewhere along the way, you are absolutely convinced, you can get about the truth, and you can feel that, oh, I think I know the truth. I got no what you call, I got no doubt as to Aham Brahmasmi. And you speak the correct language, you behave the correct way, but there is desire within. It will come and sabotage. And that's a word of caution here. And therefore, what is this Hridaya Granthi? We'll look at it in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a few moments. Hari Om.